What's going on, everyone? So there's a lot of just rumors and focus on the Portland Trailblazers in a potential trade for Jerami Grant. Makes a lot of sense, right? He's a legit three. They could slot in. He could even play both forward spots, play the three. If LeBron misses a game, boom, slide him over to the four. Have Jared Vanderbilt step up at the three. He's a guy, 40% three-point shooter. Put the ball on the deck, make plays. Great at creating contact, getting to the foul line. He is not without his faults, obviously. Like the rebounding is a big point of emphasis that a lot of people are pointing out. Now, there's a lot of questions about how significant of an upgrade is he compared to Rui Hachimura. For that is more the fit than it is about who's necessarily better. Jerami Grant is the better all-around player. He is. I love Rui, right? I think there's a genuine argument that Rui is the more efficient scorer, right? And maybe even better offensively, but he's not as versatile as Jerami Grant on both sides of the basketball. It's not, the Lakers aren't interested in trading Rui for Jerami Grant because they think Jerami Grant's just this significantly better player. It's just the fit and what the Lakers need. He slots in nicely. But the Lakers need multiple pieces in multiple positions, right? The idea of Jerami Grant is that point of attack guy that can be out there, defend multiple positions, can basically help defend the perimeter, which the Lakers were terrible at last season, and get a guy like him, boom, raises the ceiling, gives you an upgrade. But a team that hasn't really been mentioned a lot, and I've even had conversations with some of you down in the comments about this team, is the Toronto Raptors, right? Like, there has been mention of the Raptors, particularly because of Bruce Brown, who the Lakers, they were going to sign. He was actually going to be signed in place of Gabe Vincent, which makes you wonder what would that have looked like if it wasn't for Indiana giving him double the money, right? They went and inflated him, which it worked out for Indiana because they were able to go and trade and end up getting Pascal Siakam, right? So worked out for the Pacers for the better, but hurt the Lakers because he would have been a guy that could easily slot in alongside D'Lo, alongside Reeves, been a point of attack, right? Been a guy that can defend multiple. He basically defend 1 through 3 for you. He's very versatile in that regard. 3-point shooting is a bit of a concern, but he just does so much. And you look at like Derek White and Drew Holiday and Alex Caruso and these kind of like defensive-minded, can defend multiple positions, right? Even when they're undersized at times, still play big on the defensive side. Bruce Brown is another guy that you can throw in that category, right? He's very good at even defending guys that are bigger and longer than him. He's very physical, not afraid of the moment, right? He's a guy that makes a ton of sense for the Lakers to provide some athleticism, right? Especially if you trade D'Lo. He's a guy that can initiate the offense. Not really the playmaker that D'Lo is, but he is a guy that, especially with the type of offense that JJ Redick wants to run, where it's not solely reliant on LeBron making plays or D'Lo making plays. It's kind of just this cog that just starts going, right? You just need that guy that gets the first pass to boom. Now all your actions are taking place, right? He's more than capable of doing that. But even beyond Bruce Brown, now, you're not getting like Quickly or Barrett or anything like that, but they do have several guys that I do think make sense for the Lakers, right? Again, Bruce Brown is one. I think Kelly Olynyk, I would love to have Kelly Olynyk, right? He's 7 feet, slotting at the 4, could slot in at the 5. He's physical, right? He's a guy that can stretch the floor, knock down the 3 ball, right? He's making like $13 million a year, so he's reasonable as far as salary-wise goes. Jakob is another name that was linked to the Lakers even last year, right? Now, problem is, would he be okay coming off the bench? Plus, he's being paid nearly $20 million. I think he's like $19.5 million, something like that off the top of my head. But let's just round it up and say $20 million, right? But he's a guy that makes sense in that regard, a big physical center that can defend the Jokic and the Zach Edey and all the big bodied centers in the West and in the league, period, right? He's a guy that you could throw that could slot alongside Anthony Davis. Doesn't really give you floor spacing, but gives you rebounding. He can make plays out of the post, which would be nice, right? He's a guy you could dump the ball down to and he can go to work, go get you basically a double-double or close to it, even in like limited minutes. Right? Like you start kind of going down the list of guys, like all those guys could probably be had for relatively cheap. And I do think make a lot of sense for the Lakers, right? Like, even if it's just like, say, a Kelly Olynyk and a Bruce Brown, right? Like, it's like $35 million, which is only $5 million more than what you're trading for with Jerami Grant. But now you got a legit versatile 7-footer. He's not ideal, but he is a guy that you can match. I mean, the guy's physical. I mean, we all remember what he did to Kevin Love, right? Like, so he's a guy that's not afraid of the physicality, that you could even slot in, stretch the floor, do multiple things, again, make plays out of the post. He's always torched the Lakers, so it'd be nice to actually have him on your side at this point. And then like Bruce Brown being that point of attack defensive guy that you can slot in, right? Like, you could still maybe do something where, if they want D'Lo, you could go trade D'Lo, but I mean, you could put together a similar package of like what you're trying to do for Bruce Brown and like a Kelly Olynyk, right? Like, or I mean, if you really want to do, you technically get all three, but that might be a little tough because talking $23 million for Bruce Brown, which that's the problem, is just his contract is so high, right? Like, because he's not worth $23 million, but he knows that, right? And you get him a new contract, right? So you wait till this contract ends. The next year you sign him to the $11 million or whatever you were going to give him prior, right? Like, that would be the idea, and shed some salary, because you'd be taking him from $23 million to even $15 million, right? Like, that would be a significant decrease in your salary cap, which could help. And then if LeBron maybe you could even upgrade in the offseason, right? But you're talking $23 million for him. You're talking like $13 million for Kelly Olynyk. It's like 12.8, but it's just rounded up because the Lakers, gotta remember, Lakers have to send out more salary than they take back. So right there, just between those two guys, you're looking at $36 million, right? So then you add in Jakob, who you're talking another 19.5. Again, let's round it up to 20 million just to, again, make sure that the Lakers clear it. So now you're talking, You're talking 56 million. So you need to send out at least 56 million, if not a little more. D'Lo and Rui get you to 35 and some change. Gabe Vincent would get you to that'd get you to 47, right? So then you need another 10 million or so. I'd want to keep Gabe Vincent. Do you kind of just stack guys, like go with like a Jalen Hood-Schifino and a Cam Reddish and something? And because you are taking back 3 guys, right? So, maybe you could kind of stack up. It make things difficult, but it's not impossible. But again, like Jakob, like, would he want to come off the bench? Does he make sense? I mean, he makes sense as like a guy that can slot in for the big bodies, but I would be kind of looking at like Kelly Olynyk and Bruce Brown personally. I think that gives you your point of attack defensive guy, gives you that guy in the kind of the mold of an Alex Caruso, Derek White. Obviously, he's not the 3-point shooter that those guys are, but being able to defend multiple positions, slot him alongside. The problem is you slot him alongside Jared Vanderbilt, because I'm going to say Anthony Davis, but even Jared Vanderbilt, defensively, you're probably the best defense in the league at that point, right? You're on par. I mean, again, Anthony Davis plus Jared Vanderbilt makes you a top defense in the league. Right? You had Bruce Brown, you're probably top 3, 2 maybe, but offensively would be a bit of a concern. Now, can Bruce Brown improve his 3-point shooting? Slot it alongside LeBron and AD, and all the attention that they draw. Right? I'm not saying he has to be 40%, but can he be better than like 32% like he's been? Right? If he can get to like 37% even, or 36%, league average I think is like 36%. So can he get to like league average even, to where he's at least respectable? Right? At least teams have to have some concern with him. That would be nice. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine Bruce Brown costing a ton. Right, and Kelly Olynyk's not going to yield a first or anything like that. So could you work something out to where, maybe you're giving up 1 first and some seconds for those guys, right? And then, you're talking 36 million. Still could go something like Rui, Gabe Vincent, right? Especially if you get Bruce Brown. So you go Rui, Gabe Vincent, Cam Reddish. Again, that gets you to 31. You got to get another 5 million. Maybe you're throwing in like a Jalen Hood-Schifino, and then because you're bringing in Kelly Olynyk, maybe throw in like a Christian Wood or something, right? So you're having like a 5-for-2 swap, free up some roster spots, right? You bring those two guys in, and then you still have D'Lo in a first to maybe go make another move, or you could even, if you wanted to, add like Jackson Hayes and Jared Vanderbilt if you wanted to go get that big splash guy, right? You know, if that star becomes available, you have Austin Reeves even, right? Like I think that there's an argument there to, like, instead of Jerami Grant and having to give up a first and everything, like give up the same almost similar package, get Bruce Brown, who solves a lot of your defensive woes. Also, again, you'd clear an extra $8 million off your books next season, minimum, maybe more. He's a guy that wanted to be a Laker, that was going to sign with the Lakers, so you know he's probably willing to stick around. And then even if he does walk, you just cleared $23 million off your books. And then Kelly Olynyk, right? Like, you had him. So I don't hate it, right? I think it's definitely worth exploring, right? Because you could still potentially make other moves. Now, if you have to give up both first and all that stuff, it's just not worth it. But if you can get both for basically a first in a couple seconds, right? Let's say it's a first in 2 seconds, right? Kelly Olynyk, say you have to give up 2 seconds. Bruce Brown, you have to give up a first for. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I think you bring both of those guys in. You still have D'Lo. You can keep D'Lo if you want to. I mean, him with Bruce Brown slotted alongside, I think would be great to have. But even if you wanted to move off of D'Lo, right, and you could trade D'Lo, maybe go get a Cam Johnson, right? Maybe that's what you're doing. Maybe you're trying to upgrade the three at that point. Maybe you're shifting from Jerami Grant to a Cam Johnson. You're going like Bruce Brown, Austin Reeves, Cam Johnson, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. I think that's a contending team, for real, honestly. Right? You got a legit 3-and-D guy in Cam Johnson. You got, Austin Reeves, who hopefully can kind of get back to being more consistent at the 2, and then Bruce Brown as your point of attack, initiating guard. I think that's good. Sounds pretty good to me. And then LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think, like, yeah, hey, Raptors, take a look at the Raptors. Raptors may be a team that makes sense and is worth it. Do you think no, like stick with the Jerami Grant or go for Cam Johnson trade or whatever? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.